Hi, this is Samia from Henna Fixation with your dose of Henna Fix, and today I'm going to tell you what I learned in Henna Chai. Last year I was very disappointed because I could not attend a henna convention that happens close to me. It's about 5 to 6 hours away, HennaCon, but I was unable to attend it. I was pretty sad about that. And the reason why I was really sad was because I've made a commitment to myself that I'm going to continuously learn and improve on the arts. Ever since I have taken it not only as a business profession but as a serious hobby even, I wanted to keep learning more. So when I missed the convention, I was very disappointed, and I was trying to find ways to do something where I can learn from others who know a lot more than I do. So I was so excited when I learned the Henna Souk was going to be doing a Henna Chai weekend, and it's going to be online. That means that we could register and be virtually available and virtually present in the conference. And it was amazing. I was so very excited because I knew that Debbie Varvey from Henna Crone, who I actually really admire, was going to be there, as well as Nick Tarpa from Nick Tarpa Cartier. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, my bad. But he is actually pretty amazing too. I've learned a lot about him and his work in the Moroccan arts. He also does jewelry and other art mediums as well. And so the lectures were going to be good, the teachers were going to be good. I said I have to do this, and it was really amazing because both of those days I was in my PJs and I had a notebook in front of me, and I was learning and I was engaged, and I was part of a group of people who were also learning and growing in henna, and it was just fantastic. Before I begin exactly what happened in the weekend, I want to really say that if you can learn from somebody who is a master or a pro at whatever art that you're doing, please go and learn. It's going to teach you so much more. Your mind is going to open. It's just going to be really fantastic because you're being challenged with the things that you already know. And you're going to meet people who have done the stuff that you're going through. So you can learn exactly from them how they went through it, what challenges they're facing. And maybe some things that you're focusing on now is something that you really don't have to focus on. And so I really recommend it. In person is better, but if an online opportunity comes, I'm not gonna decline that. The second class I took was a Moroccan design class, and it was taught by Nick, of course. And before I took the class, I think the only thing I knew about Moroccan, well, some of the things that I knew about the Moroccan henna was that it's geometric, of course, and that it is very different. It is probably one of the most different arts out there, that there is some sort of a spiritual and historical implications in there, but that's almost as much as I knew in a nutshell. But when I took the class with him, he went into the detail on the cultural aspects of henna, that how much their beliefs, spiritual beliefs, and their just beliefs, religious beliefs in general, have come together in the henna arts. So it's not only a form of expression, but it's also a form of life to them, a way of living in which designs actually really mean something to them significantly. Then after learning the historical parts about it and how the henna is used in their daily life, he jumped towards the actual art itself. And that was something that was totally new to me, because many of the things that I thought were Moroccan were really not Moroccan. They were just geometric. So he made a sharp divide between what is geometric and what is Moroccan. And one thing that I do want to share that I remember right now is that geometric is geometric, and Moroccan is actually not perfectly geometric. So symmetry is not a part of it. Straight lines is not necessarily a part of it. So it's supposed to be very quick. And so you're creating on the fly. So you're working on this alphabet in your head, and you have it already in your head, and you're just creating the design on the fly, on the go. And that was something totally different, because when I'm creating a design, I take a step back and I'm like, okay, how are things looking? What can I do next? But in the Moroccan arts, as far as I learned in his class, was that it's very on the go. Yes, you have a general design in your mind, but you're not too focused on the smaller elements. You just create them, and they don't have to be perfect, and they shouldn't be perfect in order for it to be Moroccan. I am so focused on making the design look good. I'm so focused on making sure that it's really good. And I think that if you're doing designs from other regions, well, that's the norm there, that we do have to look at the line quality and we do have to do all those things. But if you are going to be doing an authentic Moroccan henna, then well, you have to be okay with the imperfections. And not only that, but you have to reach for those imperfections that are actually perfect in their tradition. Mind-blowing. It was amazing, and I learned a lot more than I can actually say. I took a lot of notes, and I know recently that Nick and Elisa co-wrote a book together about Moroccan henna, and they actually talk about a lot more than just henna in there. I have been eyeing that book for a long time. It is a little bit expensive, so I haven't really had a chance to buy it, but I really want to buy it. It's like, should I buy the book or should I do this? And unfortunately, this always wins. But I do want to save up for that, because not only they talk about the Moroccan arts, they talk also about the Moroccan teas, which I'm into, teas in general. And they also talk about the designs, and they give you some templates and some ideas to work from. So I really want to take that book. And if you have access to it, or if you already have it, just share with me what you know, man. Like, I want to know. The second day of the conference was the day that was really interesting to me, and the reason why I chose it was because I felt that I was struggling with it. And that is really what I want to talk about today, because I was inspired after this lecture so much. And it was co-taught by both of the teachers, so Debbie and Nick both taught this one, and it was about the life in the arts, how you see yourself in the artist, and what you see yourself doing. And something that I always struggle with is this balance of, well, I want to become an artist, but I also want to do it as a profession. And sometimes I feel that they can really clash if you value the profession more than the art itself. So if you are looking to go towards the business side too much, then you're going to have to sacrifice a little bit of the arts. And I think a little bit of sacrifice is okay. But if you're sacrificing to the point, and that's something that they really talked about, was that if you are sacrificing yourself and your artistic world to a point in which you're not liking it anymore, then maybe you need to take a step back. And I think I can say that comfortably at this point, because henna is not something that I do as a full-time job. I don't have to have a full-time job, thankfully, so far. So I can put more emphasis on enjoying the art and less emphasis on actually using it as a financial income. But there was a point in which, I want to say maybe about 6 or 7 months ago, where I was really trying to push on the business side of henna, because I really wanted to do more with it. I did have a vision that this is where I want to take, but I was doing it all wrong, because I was pushing it towards a business thing. Okay, I have to do this, I have to do this in order to do this. But then my artistic self was dying, and honestly, I felt that I did not want to do it anymore. There was a point where I wasn't liking it, you know, and I felt I was burdened by it, that every time I would do henna, whether it was a festival or whether it was a personal session, I felt a little bit like, oh, you know, I wish, you know, this was not happening today. Maybe another day, but that maybe it was not happening today. And I think the reason was because I wanted to do so many things. I was focusing on products. I was focusing on just getting more out there. I was focusing on just earning and not really letting myself create. So I was like, well, I need to make this much at this event, so I'm going to just churn out designs. And the moment I switched, and that was before this class, but this class really emphasized what happened really in my life. The moment I switched away from that and I said, you know what, I'm just going to create. I'm going to just do whatever I want to do, and I'm going to be okay saying no to people that I don't really want their business. So if they're coming to me with all these issues and this negativity and all these opinions and all these demands, then I'm sorry, I cannot service you. I can't provide that for you. And really, that was when I began to enjoy it. But like, as a client, I wish I would like to tell them, like, you're not only coming to get a design or something drawn on your hand, but you're coming to me because of an artistic experience. This is a historical tradition. There is so much more to it than just me drawing a bird on your hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was frustrating. And I know some people do those kind of things and they don't like it, but they still do it. They get annoyed by it. But for me, if there's a design which I don't want to do, I'm like, I don't want to do it. You know, I'm like, I'm sorry, this is not something I do. I have to do something more. So I can incorporate that into another design, but my design is not only going to be that. And another example would be that a lot of people come up with a picture on the phone. and from another artist. And while that picture is great, but it's not speaking to me. It's not my voice. It's not something that I am good at, or it's not something that I'm going to be great at, right? So I know where I'm going with my arts. I know where I need to work. So when they do come up to me with a picture on the phone, I'm like, I can definitely take some ideas from it, I can take inspiration from it, but I'm not going to do the exact same design. And I became a lot more firm with it. My design actually improved. I became better because I was allowing the artistic self to come out without feeling burdened by other people's expectations. And I ranted a little bit there, but that was something that they really talked about, is by being your authentic self and just loving your art and not letting other things burden it. At the same time, I do realize that there is a business part of it, that you do want to have it as a business so you can keep doing it, because I cannot do it on my own. I only have a certain limit amount of skin on myself, and I do need to be able to make something so I can take part in festivals and events, which can become really expensive over time. You have to pay for the insurance, you have to pay for the supplies. So all of that requires money, and it's gonna come out from somewhere. So there is a point where you have to take it to a business level, and you have to get down to reality, be like, well, I wish I could do all of this, but let's come down and realize that this is a business at the end of the day. So there is an aspect to that where you have to focus on that, but you don't have to sacrifice another part of yourself. So just listening to Debbie and Nick talk about finding your life in the arts and trying to become an artist and being okay with who you are, I think it was very inspirational, and I felt I needed to hear it. And you know what, whatever I said, it's probably a tenth of what they actually talk about, because it was very informative. It was just amazing. And like I said before, if you have an opportunity to either shadow somebody who's with you in your community, or just to learn from them in seminars and conferences, if you can drive there, if you can fly there, whatever your interest in arts is, I recommend that you go for it, because it is going to change your life. It really is. Every time I learn from another artist, I am so stoked. I just cannot put into words, because there's just so much that you don't know. There's so much that you're going to learn. And even if you feel that, oh, you're pretty good where you are, you're not. There's just so much more that you can get out of it. And I do recommend it. I know that Henna Souk was actually on Periscope at that time. I'm not sure if by the time the video is posted, any of that stuff is going to be up there. I am not too sure. But they do also do some classes on Periscope, so you should definitely look them up. Henna Souk, they do that. And they also, so this idea of henna chai is not new, of course. They've been doing it for some time. They do it in the weekends. I am not too sure if every time it's going to be online, or if it has ever been. This is the first time I came across it, and I fell in love with the idea that I can just learn from here, that it's not gonna take too much time and money from me, because it gets a little bit expensive if you do have to travel. So I was grateful for that, and I do recommend it, and I hope that you will forgive my ranting, because I did talk a lot, and I felt that I needed to share all of this information with you. And I know that I talk a lot with my hands, so their hands will be flailing around everywhere. But I hope that, in some way that it helped you, and it inspired you, and it really pushed you towards learning more and getting out there more, and really taking your art seriously, because there's so much joy in it, and you can find the joy in it, and it's just lovely. Well, I hope you have a beautiful day, and until next time, henna on.